everybody, it's Paige doing another drunk craft today. Got something different for you. It's not an acrylic pour. As you can see from my different setup, we're gonna give a shot at making, or take a shot at making coasters. I bought some cool coaster molds from Amazon, and they came with all sorts of shapes and thicknesses and all sorts of stuff. I've got two other ones that I didn't bring with me. They're just a small circle one and I think a small hexagon. And they don't have this, if you can see, or I guess maybe this way, they don't have this lip. And I like the lip for coasters because then your drinks don't slide off. Otherwise you just have you would just have a circle of resin to set your drink on. So I like the ones that came with a lip on them. So I've got this smaller circle, medium hexagon, and a larger square. And the circle one is the shallowest, and the next shallow, and then the square is the deepest one. So, by the way, I'm drinking a Seagram's. I know it doesn't have a high alcohol content and it tastes like juice. That's exactly why I like them. So, what I have here, next to all my coasters, I have little piles of rocks. I live in Michigan and we are big fans of the Upper Peninsula. They have cool rocks and driftwood and all sorts of stuff. So I have a collection of different items that I've picked up on numerous vacations up north. And so I've got some sea glass, I've got rocks, I've got some different driftwood twigs that I'm gonna try to put in here. And we're gonna see how they turn out. If they turn out well, I'd like to give them as Christmas presents. What else do I have with me today? I also have some pigment. It's just an itty bitty bag of some soap pigment that you can either use, you can dump it in your resin to color it, or you can actually kind of sprinkle it in or dust it into the crevices of things. And that's what I'm gonna do today. Because each of these molds has a lip to it, I'm gonna take some of this pigment and I'm gonna brush it into the corners of the coasters where I'm not gonna really have any stones or anything, to give it kind of a nice pop. And we're gonna see how that turns out, how bright it comes out. And I've got this whole, let's see, these are called Soapy Mica powder pigments from Soap Shop, I believe. And this box I got has a cajillion of them in here. How many? 28 colors. So there are so many different shades of things. I'm excited to try them and see how they turn out. I've got a copper one. If you know anything about Michigan's Upper Peninsula, is that they're big on copper, especially in the Keweenaw, which is where we like to vacation. So I got some copper. I got a green tinted one called Olive and a blue one called Sea Wave. And last but not least, I have my resin. And I got it from, there, camera darkened up on me. I've got a brand called Total Boat. Now I got this recommendation from Evan and Caitlin. If you've seen any of their videos, they're big on DIY stuff. You should check them out. And they use Total Boat for a lot of their projects. And the super cool thing about Total Boat is they come with these pumps and they are pre-measured. So you know how with resin you have to, according to whatever kind you get, the type of cure you want, like if it's fast or slow, or I guess the brand can vary too. You need a special kind of ratio. And each of these pumps is pre-measured to give me the specific amount that I need. I tried to do a bottle cap table with resin before, and it turned out great, except for I had a large portion of goo that didn't harden, and I had a whole big struggle with resin trying to make that table, that I couldn't get it to, I don't know if I improperly measured or if I just didn't stir enough and I didn't mix it well. But either way, the brand that I had, you had to pour, measure the resin and the hardener individually, and then you had to pour them in a cup together and mix them. Well, Total Boat takes the mystery and the whole measurement and everything out of that, and they give you these pre-measured pumps. So just from that, I'm a big fan, and we're going to use that today and see how it turns out for these coasters. I've also got the kit I bought, came with a nice little measuring cup and a wooden dowel to stir stuff with, and I've got some gloves, and I brought the instructions down with me. So before we do any of the resin, we're gonna drink. And I'm gonna go ahead and brush the pigment into the lip of each of these coasters. So let's get started. Now, like I said, I'm gonna start this off. I'm gonna start with the small one, and I just have a small brush. And I'm gonna try to brush some of this pigment into the crease around the lip of my coasters. So this first one is the copper, and shit's crazy, y'all. I got a whole lot of pigment just on my brush, just a little bit, just poking it in there. So I actually kind of went around the rim of the circle as well. So now we're gonna move on to the green. Alright, so my green is done. And now, last but not least, we have the blue. It's called Sea Wave. cleaned up here, we're gonna wipe my hands off. So, how I am opting to make these coasters is I'm gonna get some resin. I'm gonna pour a very small amount into each of these. I'm gonna try to push the rocks in to the coasters, and then I'm gonna fill it the rest of the way up. I'm not gonna wait for it to really like cure it all. No layers here. These are pretty short molds. They're not like thick, like if you were doing flowers or like a paperweight or some kind of design. So I think I should be good with just one layer, but we'll see. This is my first time trying to make coasters, so like I said, with the total boat, I should just need one pump per, let's see, one pump of hardener and then one pump of resin is the proper ratio that I want. So maybe I'll do 2 pumps and then 2 pumps, so I've got enough to fill all of these. So actually, these pumps don't pump out a whole lot, so I ended up doing a pretty decent amount of both of these, of the resin and the hardener. And the instructions say that I need to stir it for 2 to 3 minutes to make sure that it's all mixed up. And I'm going to be scraping the edges and scraping the stick that I'm using. I might even need more than this to properly fill up coasters. And now I'm just mixing them. You guys don't need to watch me do that. It should be good to start pouring just a little bit into each of these molds. So here we go. Okay, I'm gonna kind of, resin is self-leveling, but I'm gonna kind of guide it into all the little crevices and whatnot. To make sure it's where I want it to be. I think my hexagon one is a little bit more full than the others. Okay, so now that these all have a tiny bit in them, I'm going to go ahead and start placing all my rocks. Alright, and so now all of my rocks are placed in there. I'm going to need a little bit more resin to actually fill these up. Okay, so I've got a little bit more mixed up, and I'm going to try to get to eye level to do this. So I can make sure that I'm pouring these up to the edge. Last one. So, some things I'm noticing, if you guys choose to put any driftwood pieces in, it probably would be a good idea to do this in layers. Wood, obviously, is full of air. And so all of my driftwood pieces are starting to rise to the surface. So that kind of blows a little. They will probably just be, you know, they won't be set down into the coaster like the rocks are. They'll be at the bottom, technically. Like, they'll float to the top of these molds, but when I take these out, that means that they're gonna be on the, they'll be on the bottom. So my circle one is full. My square one still has some spots left that I need to. So I mixed up just a little bit more. Okay. See if I can get any of these wood pieces to stay down. They don't look like they want to. They're just gonna come rising up to the surface. But all of my rocks appear to be covered. My molds are full. I got resin all over my hands. Oh yeah, that's why they have these gloves from the kit. I'm a messy worker. I like doing stuff with my bare hands. So real quick, I'm gonna fast torch these just to get the air bubbles out. You don't want to hit them too hard with heat because you don't want to burn the resin. But I do have, I'm sure you can't see them, but there are all these itty bitty tiny bubbles surrounding everything. So I'm gonna just I can see them starting to go away. Something caught on fire. That was fun. What's wrong with it? Okay. So this one, all the bubbles seem to come out. Oh, I still have some that are popping up. As these sit, bubbles will rise. So maybe I'll come back at them a little bit later to torch them again. What else? If you don't have a torch, I've also heard that exhaling on these bubbles will work. The carbon monoxide in your breath will sometimes pop them. There goes one. The ones on the corner don't like it so much though, so debating whether or not I want to just take these sticks out. It kind of sucks though, because I really like the way the driftwood looks. This paint, I don't want that in my... So I'm gonna take out my wood pieces and I'm gonna put some more, or maybe I shouldn't. I've already got these full of stones. That one's already got resin on it. That one sinks really well. Oh my gosh. This paint. Still, it's from my last video if you guys haven't seen it. Okay. Put some of these other flat rocks in here that I really like. It's a cute little circle one. It's easily pressed to the bottom. Ooh, I'm getting resin all over these. So this resin is one of the, I think it's medium curing. It's not the fast curing or anything, because I want plenty of working time. So you can see, you know, with trial and error and these different things that are happening, I definitely want the time to be able to move the pieces around, make adjustments if needed, which I clearly did with the wood pieces. Maybe if I do these again and I want to put them in, well, maybe this resin will seal them up. But either way, maybe I will try them again with the wood pieces and see what they do. If they float, then maybe I'll have to do it in layers rather than, you know, I said I wasn't gonna because they're pretty small, but with stuff like this, I would have to do layers to embed them more into the resin and keep them in place. Rocks clearly don't float, so they're staying put just fine. The one thing I am seeing, is the my sea glass. The clear and the blue fade, like they disappear into the resin a whole lot. This one is blue and I can barely see it. And this one has white and I can like just see the edge of it. When I have cleaner hands, I'll bring you guys down and show you what's going on here. But yeah, this is interesting. I think I'm gonna wait for a few minutes. Let the bubbles kind of rise, let it level a little bit, and I'll show you what they look like closer up. Give you guys a better angle. Okay guys, so here are the coasters. Here's my copper one. It's still got some bubbles in it. Maybe I'll take a toothpick to them and kind of free those up. Here is my hexagon one. And here's the square one. I kind of really like this blue color. But like I said, ooh, did I stick my finger in it? Jeez. This is where the sea glass is. And you can barely see that triangle in there. This copper one has white. Can I angle you guys so you see it? Ooh, you can kind of see the edge just there. So, here's my first attempt with the resin for coasters, and we shall see. Within a few hours, these should be, I think, cured to the touch, or, you know, at least starting to harden. But I'm going to wait for a few days, or at least 24 hours, before I mess with them. I also have a box. Where's my box at? I have a box that I plan on placing over top of these so I don't get any dust or cat hair or anything obnoxious in the coasters like that. So I will tune you guys in when I try to pop them out. Okay guys, so it has been a full 24 hours for the coasters. I took the box off and you can see just from the bottoms of them, I had a few of them that had like little air bubbles that were very persistent and they didn't want to come out with the blowtorch. I should have tried to go at them with toothpicks a little bit earlier, but by the time I spotted them, they were already starting to get tacky. And this one in particular, I went at a bubble while it was apparently too tacky, and I've got like a very small dip in the resin here from where I dug it out. So luckily that's the bottom, so it should be totally fine. You won't even really like see that dip because it's kind of hidden beneath the rock. But it is time to pop these suckers out. All right, so here is the first one, the circle. Oh, score! You can see that piece of sea glass from the top. I think it was just the color of the mold, and then plus the resin kind of masked it. But you can see it. And the edges, if I can get it to focus, it kind of, like the pigment kind of blends down into, like it kind of fades into it. It looks super cool. So there's the first one. Here's my medium one, the hexagon. These pull out pretty easily. They're very nice. I like these molds. Ah! Here's the second one. You can also see the sea glass in there. This one's got a whole lot of bubbles, like on the surface of it. I don't really know what happened, but I've got a whole lot of bubbles that got trapped on the surface. But I think it still looks super cool. Oh, there's actually like a little bit. Some of where these bubbles are, it kind of exposed the rock. This one didn't turn out as well. But the third one, ooh, it's got sharp corners on the, well, because it's a square. Here's the square one. Like I said, yeah, these corners are pretty sharp. I'm probably gonna go at them with sandpaper. But yeah, you can see see if I can tilt it a little better. You can see the sea glass there in the bottom. And I also, this rock, it trapped an air bubble when I placed it down, and so there's a little air bubble hole on that one too. I don't know if I want to try to fix it because it's so thin. But yeah, here's the third one. This other one is just the failed pieces of wood that got coated in resin. I took them out and put them in a mold to dry, and they won't get stuck to stuff. But so, overall, I think these turned out pretty good. I think the circle one so far is my favorite. It's got some crud on it, but yeah. I think experimenting with them some more would definitely do me some good, but I think for my first batch of resin coasters ever, they're pretty nice. So, give you guys some cool after shots. Thank you guys for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe below, and I will see you all next time for another video.